Continuing our discussion on vertical and horizontal, one of the most important things I've been thinking about with it, and working with the various students I work with, and in my own playing as well, and in listening to others, is there's a certain pressure, not like pressure, but pressure of intensity in a long line, as opposed to a line that's not long. Now, to look at some of the physiological aspects of this and how we can at least have the physical equipment to do this before we can actually have it manifest in our music making, because sometimes it can be hard to hear. Sometimes we think we're making a long line and we're not. Certain things can interfere with the long line. For example, if we physically go wow, wow when we're playing. Again, a bit exaggerated, but you get the point. What's happening in that is the air pressure, for one thing, is not maintaining itself all the way through. And on top of that, we're not thinking that we need to have this length of line, that one note is not an island unto itself, but it's a part of a much larger structure, the phrase itself. And the phrase itself might just be a piece of the larger structure of a piece. So, having a sustained air pressure is very, very important. But you know what makes the air pressure? It isn't just air. It's your will. If you poke yourself in the middle of your hand, just poke and pull away. That is an example of how a lot of people use their air. They poke, hit a note, and then just kind of back away. And then you can sometimes have trouble hitting other notes, especially when they have leaps of that, like an octave jump of vertical nature. You need to have that sustained air pressure and that constant lead to where you're going. Now, let's take, this is all talking about the pressure and the length of the line and the intensity. Look how rhythm's related to it. Here's a tempo. Okay, you want to hear that tempo backwards? Exactly. It's always moving forward, or it appears that way. One after another, one after another, one after another. Continuous. And if I didn't keep my mental pressure, intensity, and intent, then that beat wouldn't be happening that consistently. So you can see how our attention is related to the consistency of the rhythm, and how then we can use our air to move across those beats. It's just like a child playing that game of dots. You have a dot of rhythm, a tempo, and you blow your air right across those lines, making sure that it's moving from one to the other with a certain kind of intensity. This is very important in thinking about the long line. The long line. One that keeps going. One that when you feel you're at its high point, you got there. And I'll tell you what I love about Roshu number 1. It actually has a climax. I love that Roshu. It has a climax. So listen while I play it and see if you can follow the long line within all the different shapes. So I hope some of that was clear to you. And just to say, I have a basic plan for it, and the line leads you so naturally. But depending on how I'm feeling, I might put a little flower there. I might put a little valley there. Because doesn't phrase, in a phrase, there's peaks and valleys. There's ups and downs. There's highs and lows. There's moments of resolve and moments of tension and moments of suspension and moments of driving and moments of backing away. And to make these have some kind of easily felt but not boring follow through is what I would call the bridge technology from one to another. How you actually release off something. And this is where all of you is important in the music making. To take a breath that actually, I don't have for example, speaking of breathing, I do not have a big lung capacity at all. And so I have to make the most out of what I have. And some people will be able to, oh gosh, go forever in a line without taking a breath. That's fine, as long as there's still nuance. I've heard, I can't remember who told me, one of my mentors probably, said to me, a great string player breathes and a great wind player bows. Many times, because of brass instruments, are so used to going ta, 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 ta. It gets very downbowed. And so a lot of times brass players will try to rectify that feeling of downbow by playing everything long. But then again, in my view, that doesn't rectify that situation. It doesn't actually make a long line just because you're playing tenuto. It's a good exercise towards that. And so, it's just a thought that a good wind player bows as an up bow and a down bow. A good string player breathes. So just continuum doesn't actually make for a line that's long and fulfilling. Think about it.